related aspects like training, research, consultancy, and education in agriculture marketing is fulfilling its mandate by dissemination of information and knowledge in relation to agricultural marketing during tough times like COVID 19. Before moving forward, I humbly request to all the participants to take note of the following key measures for smooth running of the webinar. Kindly consider them as the do's and don'ts during the whole webinar session. First, kindly keep the audio of your devices on mode during the entire duration when the speaker is delivering the speech. Kindly save your questions and queries till the end of both the sessions. Separate time slot will be made available to address your queries. Considering this is a webinar and not a presentation, let the speaker complete the entire subject he or she is delivering the session on, and the speaker will take the question and answers afterwards. Meeting will start when the organizers enter the conference room you are already logged in onto. Kindly wait. You can use chat box available for sending your queries, and raise hand option is also available if the need arises. Now, I also request all the participants to provide the following information in the chat box, those who are connected. Information includes your name, your designation, your name of institute, mobile number, and your email address. Thank you for your patience. Without further ado, I would like to request and invite Dr. Director CCS NIAM, Dr. Hema Yadav, for welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
1 minute pause.
Okay, I'm waiting for all of you to provide the information as I mentioned, that is name, designation, name of institute, mobile number, and email address.
1 minute pause.
You have 1 minute time to deliver the same information.
You can use Flash.
As an example.
Flash.
Doctor, you can start. 1 second.
Good morning to everyone, and a warm welcome to this webinar series organized by CCS National Institute of Agriculture Marketing. The institute is an apex institute for agriculture marketing under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. This webinar series, which will be organized by the national facilitators of CCS NIAM, would be deliberating on the agriculture marketing issues in the COVID-19 period. We are all aware that in this era of pandemic, how it has impacted the agriculture operations and supply chains and disrupted the whole system. However, there have been many solutions to it, and the experts who would be delivering this series of 24 lectures through the webinar would be delving on these issues as to how this whole system of agriculture supply chains can be restored back for the benefit of farmers. This is the first day, and we are very happy that this is the inaugural session happening. This webinar series has been conceptualized by Director General Dr. P. Chandrasekhara, and with the support of the national facilitators who are all senior professors at the universities and experts. And we have a network with these all professors who have been supporting this webinar series. The different topics that we will be covering would be very beneficial to all the participants who have joined us, and we are very happy at this response. Today being the inaugural session, we are joined by the chief guest, Dr. M.R. Dinesh, who is Director IHR Bangalore. We are very happy that you joined, sir. Welcome to this session. We are also happy to have Dr. Jay Vijay Raghavendra, who is also a principal scientist at IHR. And we are also happy to have all the participants who are joining to this program. Thank you so much.
Continuously. Akshay.
Keyboard. Yeah, now I request Dr. Jay Raghavendra Rao to take 2 minutes to talk about role of facilitators in this webinar.
Sir, one more. One more time. One more time, sir.
Now I request Dr. J. Raghavendra Rao to share his views on role of national facilitators in this webinar. Dr. J. Raghavendra Rao, please.
Am I visible, sir?
Yeah, you are visible.
Am I audible?
Yes, audible. Please.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and Honorable Director General Dr. P. Chandrasekhar, Chief Guest Dr. M.R. Dinesh, Director IHR. I'll just be briefing you.
पासवर्ड डालोगे ना
I'll be briefing you about the role of national facilitators and how this
एक मैसेज हो रहा है
post-COVID role of national facilitators. So, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that the human resource cannot be the property of a single organization or a single country or whatever it is. It's high time that we work on the matrix organization and we share the human resources and then put all the human resources and dovetail it, converging synchronization mode to treatment and that way are you visible, sir? Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Continue.
Please continue.
Yeah. So therefore, there is an urgent need to converge all the human resources, and the physical distance is no longer a problem because we are going to converge, and then we are also going to bring out solutions for a disaster issue like this COVID-19, and this is only a beginning. And there may be many such disaster management issues where all the national facilitators who are virtually at a single point, but in reality they're at a geographical distance, and the distance should not matter. It is only the synthesizing and the converging of the ideas and harmony which is going to bring out some policy recommendations. And I wish all the national facilitators to work in this regard and beyond the barriers of organization, country, and so on. Thank you very much, sir. That is the role of the national facilitators, and then how the CCS NIAM has conceived this idea, and then they have trained the national facilitators in 2-3 batches, and we are already working across the country, various institutes, and then we are here to address this very important issue, that agriculture marketing strategies in the post-COVID era, and then what sort of how the supply chain and the value chain is going to be restored, and how the livelihoods are going to be reconstructed, and how the economy is going to take not anything, but how it's going to back. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for the words and the address. Now, moving forward, I request Dr. M.R. Dinesh, Director, Indian Institute of Horticultural Research, for the special address as a chief guest. Dr. M.R. Dinesh, over to you.
Thank you. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, you are visible and audible also.
Okay. Dear Dr. Chandra, Dr. Hema Yadav, first of all, my congratulations to you for having started the webinar at the probably this actually necessitates that all the more we need to work on a networking mode. It is not the social sciences alone, it is not the agricultural sciences alone, it is not the other aspects alone can bring about a change. The situation what exactly we are in now is unprecedented. Probably many of our generation, at least, we have not seen this kind of a thing. Probably a generation past also a condition like this. Now, having said that, whether there is the one bottom line which I would say in this webinar would be that the demand for food is not going to decrease. This is the basic underlining bottom line, because people are there, food needs to be catered to everybody. Everybody needs food, in fact, and everybody needs quality and nutritious food. One of the problems that has occurred during this COVID-19 is that actually there is a lot of disruption of farming activity. Why I say so is, if I take my own Bangalore here and the nearby areas, two of the most important commercial crops which have come into yield at this point of time are mango and grapes. And suddenly we find that both these sections of farmers are at a loss. This is so with regard to many of the other agricultural crops wherein harvesting needs to be done. Probably in many other parts of the country as well. One is the food supply chain is actually disrupted. There is reduction in labor force. All the while, precisely because we need to take certain care during this time because of the social distance. There are transport restrictions.
You talk to
There is reduction in the meat consumption. The hotels and restaurants are not working. There is rising of consumption of even in the. So taking all these things, I think we need to work out a strategy. Already some good things have happened. I don't know in many other places whether it has happened, but it has happened in some parts of Karnataka, wherein this mango and grape distribution has come in a way wherein the farmers themselves have started marketing their produce to various parts in the city, extensions to the flats, apartments, thereby earning quite a good sum of money. What it goes to show is that even under distress conditions like this, there is a way out. Probably we need to sit together and work out. I actually, from the point of view of Indian Institute of Horticultural Research, we have given several technologies to the farmers at this point of time. Right? In fact, the institute over the past 5 decades has come out with several of the harvest technologies which can be used, and we have started with these technologies to the farmer. And there are many successful farmers who have already adopted this, who are making good of the things by carrying out many technologies. This is one part of it. Second is in the marketing chain. In fact, the institute has come out a vending van type, which we have already given it to the State Department of Horticulture in Karnataka. About 23 vans today are plying in various headquarters, carrying fruits and vegetables to the people, many of the families in the extension in cities. This is also going to happen in a big way in some of the states like Haryana, who have also taken these vending vans. This works on a solar principle actually, which helps to keep the fresh fruits and vegetables fresh by the misting technology, which is basically through solar energy. I mean, I'm only trying to get across saying that there are few technologies which can be of ready use during this period. Probably another one of the most disturbing facts during this time is the labor availability. Probably in other industries which have got closed, there is a great scale of unemployment. Probably, I don't know how it is going to happen, but in the days to come, probably these laborers may shift to agriculture also, and there are many cases and examples which are being reported through media, wherein they say that many of these laborers are going back to their farms and starting farming. Probably this is also a kind of hope that that agriculture is going to have is going to becoming more and more important in the days to come. Having said that, probably in this juncture, the webinar that is being undertaken by you, Dr. Chandrasekhara, I really appreciate you for having taken it up along with our Dr. Jairang Vedra as one of the resource persons. I feel that we need to work out a strategy both for vegetables, other grains and other things. We need very much worry about it because they are that perishable. Probably fruits and vegetables need to be worked out separately because we need to have a lot of cold storage facilities. We need to have pre-harvest management practice also we will have to modify. Post-harvest management has to be given due recognition so that loss be reduced. In fact, taken by our institute is with regard to seed production. How to engage farmers in the seed production, how to make them entrepreneurs by making horticulture an enterprise. can be an enterprise. One of the avenues is nursery production. One of the avenues is seed production. These are all some of the avenues which can taken up even by the marginal farmers. Probably we need to discuss all these things in this webinar, and I wish and hope that this the recommendations which would come. If you have any suggestions for the projects to be undertaken in this line, or the research if we need to do of horticulture in this line, probably we will be in a position to do it, and we are eagerly looking forward to it. Once again, I congratulate all people who are involved in this. Thank you. Thank you. Great success for this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the special address.
Now we'll be
Moving forward, and I would request Director General CCS NIAM Dr. P. Chandrasekhara to deliver the inaugural address to everyone connected.
over to you, sir.
Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Am I visible?
Am I visible?
Yeah.
Audio and video.
Audio and video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Dr. M.R. Dinesh, for gracing the occasion as the chief
Chief
guest
guest
and addressing all the participants and sharing your experiences and views. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to compliment all the national facilitators for contributing their time, energy, resources for this
webinar series for the cause of farmers.
To
So, honorable guest of today's
inaugural
inaugural
session,
session,
Dr.
Dr. M.R. Dinesh,
Director,
Director, Indonesian of Horticulture Research,
one of
the premier horticulture research
institute
in the country,
and all
all the national facilitators who are participating in the webinar,
and
faculty and staff of manage, NIAM, and
all
all
the
the participants.
So
So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all again
to this
to this webinar series. Today we are in the midst of one of the greatest crises
of
of the mankind.
We are
We are facing one of the strongest invisible enemy called COVID.
This
This COVID is capable of restricting all of us
to our
to our respective homes.
This
This COVID closed all offices and business establishments.
This
This COVID prevented every one of us
from
from meeting and greeting our family members, friends, and relatives.
is so
It is so powerful.
But this
COVID could not
stop
stop one sector, that is agriculture.
Instead of
COVID,
challenge
the challenge thrown by this most powerful invisible enemy,
the
agriculture is moving, farmers are working, going to the fields, harvesting is going on,
markets
markets are open, the buying and selling are taking place, and every kitchen is active. Nobody is suffering from the hungry, and the entire credit goes to the farming community, all the scientists and extension workers who are supporting them.
But
It's very important to note that
the
the systems are temporarily disrupted.
It's
It's very important for all the professionals to address
these
important issues. Every stakeholders involved in supply chain in agriculture are impacted by COVID,
whether he
whether he is a farmer, the producer, the consumer, the markets,
the
the
logistics
logistics operators,
warehouse,
owners, cold chain operators,
the
the commission agents, traders, exporters,
the
the importers,
the
the bankers, everyone who are involved around agriculture are impacted in one or the other way. How each one of them, the stakeholders are impacted. and how they are managing the crisis, how they are evolving the innovations to manage this crisis. It's very important for all of us as professionals to understand, and this crisis management and the innovations need to be spread across the country among all the professionals so that these experiences will benefit everyone to make our agriculture system very strong. That is the very purpose of this webinar series. This webinar series is mainly managed by national facilitators of CCS NIAM. Basically, these national facilitators or agriculture experts working for ICR organizations, working for state agriculture universities, state market boards, marketing boards, and some people are from private sectors. Basically 23 national facilitators earlier who were trained at CCS NIAM in agriculture marketing. They are participating as expert and speakers in this for the next 23 days. They are representing around 20 partner institutions, and next to 23 days at the rate of one webinar every day, touching different aspects will be in progress for the benefit of all the stakeholders. In fact, to make this program popular, we have given wide publicity for this webinar series to all the state government officials, among ICR organizations, universities, KVKs, agri startups, students, interns, and even international participants. So what is going to happen at the end of this webinar? That's very important to understand. So once the speakers share their experience, sufficient time is kept for participants to share their views, and something valuable which comes out of this discussion will be compiled in the form of policy brief at the end of May month, and that will be circulated to all the stakeholders in the country so that the crisis management techniques and innovations adopted during this COVID period in managing agriculture marketing systems by different stakeholders, shared by different national facilitators, these experiences will reach all the stakeholders at the end of May month. That is the very purpose of this webinar. I would like to thank Dr. M.R. Dinesh for gracing the occasion, sparing his valuable time and addressing all the participants. I would like to thank again all the national facilitators for contributing in this webinar. And I would like to specially thank all the participants and especially the faculty and IT team of NIAM for managing for next 22 days. So thank you one and all, and let us take maximum benefit of this webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the inaugural address and delivering the words of wisdom that we really require in these tough times. Moving forward, now I would like to request Mr. Manoj Agrawal, CEO, NIAM Agri-Business Incubator, to provide the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all. I deem it a great honor and privilege to give vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First and foremost, I thank our organizer, CCS NIAM, Dr. P. Chandrasekhar for making this occasion a success. He has taken all the initiative to make this webinar successful for benefiting the nation during COVID period. His words are always encouraging to us. We are grateful to our chief guest, Dr. M.R. Dinesh for taking valuable time from his busy schedule and enlighten us from his encouraging words and vision. I thank Dr. Jayaraj, Principal Science HR, for putting all the effort for making this webinar successful. I also extend my thanks to MI Yadav, Director CCS Niam, for her contribution in this webinar. We are extremely thankful to national facilitators trained by CCS Niam, who took all the pain and agreed to join this webinar as a speaker and sharing their wisdom with the nation. The vote of thanks will not be completed without thanking who have participated in this webinar from various domain and profession actively to make this webinar successful. Last but not least, I would like to thank team of CCS Niam, especially IT team, who have taken all the pain and worked very hard to put all the things on right track. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the vote of thanks. Now, without further ado, we'll be moving forward with the next action of the webinar. That is, I'll be inviting Dr. Shripad Vishweshwar, who's an assistant professor of agricultural economics at University of Horticulture Science, Bagalkot, and comes with a great experience of around 22 years in teaching, research, and extension. And he has also acted as a member of Agricultural Economics Research Association India. Sir, over to you. Over to you, Shripad, sir.
Before beginning the presentation, I request all of you to write your profile details like name, designation, organization name, and contact details, so that we can communicate with you and provide all the proceedings of the webinar.
कर देते हैं सर।
Sir, kindly put the PPT at full screen.
F5. F5.
F5.
On the slide mode.
You can reduce the size of the fonts, but you can press F5.
No, this is the one slide mode you have to do.
This is slide mode.
Slide mode. Yeah.
You reduce the size. Next one. Make it 100. And go to slide mode. Full screen. Left hand side. Yes.
But yeah, no, not that.
So kindly press F5 on the keyboard, sir. Kindly press F5 on the keyboard.
Full screen.
Perfect.
Shripad, you can start.
Keyboard.
Sir, we can start the presentation now.
Everyone chila gaya.
Hello, please put it in slideshow mode.
Slideshow mode.
Yes.
Yes, sir, that is it.
Now it is fine.
Yes. Slideshow mode. Go to the first slide.
Yeah. Yes, Sripad.
Please go to the first.
Okay, this is okay. So, shall I start, sir?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
I am Mr. Sripad Vishweshwar, Assistant Professor of Agriculture Economics. I am working at University of Horticulture Sciences, Pagalkot. Today I am delivering the aspect on marketing of fruits and vegetables during COVID-19 period. We all know that the COVID-19 pandemic started during the week of March, has infected people and taken its toll result of its pandemic. The entire nation went into lockdown from March 22nd, 2022 protect people from e-health. Clampdown has hit all the sectors of the economy, including agriculture also, resulting disruption of business, lifestyles, health, employment. Since the agriculture is the backbone of the country and it being an essential commodity sector, its impacts are going to have effect both on backward and forward linkages of the supply chain. Hence, protecting the sector against the pandemic is critical. Governments, both state and center, have taken several steps and measures to address issues and challenges faced by the agriculture sector. Especially from this COVID-19 problem, the horticulture sector, because it has got its own problems, has affected much than the other sectors. We'll see that what are the some of the marketing aspects of the fruits and vegetable. What is the nature of the markets, what are the problems and all those things. We'll start with the marketing of fruits and vegetables. Most of the, as you know, the characteristics of the fruits and vegetables in the marketing side, if you consider, most of the horticulture commodity markets in India are generally operated under the normal forces of demand and supply. So this is basically, it is disrupted because of the COVID-19. This has to be addressed now. Even though there are government has making some taken some measures and all those things, even though the we can't matching the demand with the supply. Second thing is that the buying and selling of horticulture produce takes the market functions where number of market functions are involved. So this is because especially the most of the horticulture farmers, they depend more on village vendors. They won't go for other markets and all those things. They every year, they have, since from last long time period, they will depend on that same vendor, market vendor. That is the problem they are facing. Okay, and another thing is the market, that is what is the rupee, that is share they will getting is the only 1 rupee out of the farmer share in the consumer's rupee is only 1 rupee they will get. The government of India reported that as per a survey conducted, farmer is getting only 1 rupee out of every 3 rupees 50 paisa paid by the consumer. Out of consumer rupees, he will get only 1 rupee out of that one. This is the biggest problem in general things also. So now we will see that what is the supply chain of our horticulture or fruits and vegetable in general. That is the normal supply chain operating throughout the normal supply chain. That is, there are 4 ways they will operate in normal days. They are farmers to commission agents 1, farmers to aggregate FAOs, and farmers to village trader, and farmer to collection centers. Again, from collection centers to the commission agents in mandis, and from commission and aggregators and FAO village merchant to the commission agents, and wholesalers, from commission agents to wholesalers in mandi, and sub wholesalers, retailers, consumers, or some wholesalers to the exports, or sub wholesalers to the exports. This is the normal supply chain in the marketing of the fruits and vegetable. But because of the COVID-19, this is disrupted. So especially horticulture, fruits and vegetable farmers are very much affected by this lockdown and movement of any transport and all those things. So another thing we have to address is the producer share. Any studies says that the producer shares in the consumer rupee is that you see in horticulture crops is that in fruits and vegetables it is 33 to 25% in case of the fruits and vegetables is the too much high. Producer share is too much low compared to other crops also. In order to provide remunerative prices, the farmers there is need to eliminate the chain of middlemen by introducing innovative marketing channels. So, like direct marketing, contract farming, all those. Now we'll see the what are the problems the horticulture farmers are facing with respect to marketing during COVID-19 lockdown period. So, as you know, first and foremost problem is the horticulture commodities are highly perishable. Their markets are thin and sparsely spread. This is very thin and sparsely spread. This is the one of the major problem because the markets are thin and they are situated like metropolitans, big cities and all those things. So in this period, COVID-19 period, to reach out the market is difficult for the rural farmers. Third one is the markets are inefficient, which is evidenced by the price spread between producer price and consumer rupee. So there are because of the widespread, sparsely spread markets, there are so many middlemen are involved in the marketing of horticulture, fruits and vegetables. And another thing is that recently the horticulture commodities are in some of them routed through mandis, are but it is less in Karnataka or some other states. But most of the horticulture commodities are sold through unorganized markets soon. They won't come to the APMC. So now we'll see the what are the alternate market who have adopted. This is the very important. Who are the safer side? Which farmers are safer side in this COVID-19 period also? Who have adopted the alternative marketing system? That farmers are safer side. There are so many evidences are case studies are there that will be dealt by our next speaker, Dr. Sachin Nandimat. So first one is direct marketing. Who have involved in the direct marketing? They will definitely they have benefited in this COVID-19 period also. And who are in the second one contract marketing? Already they are in the earlier contract period. They are used to benefited because already they are in the contract. Their produce is usually marketed. So I only has experienced this one because when I contacted the one contract company at Hubli, they will said that only who have early contract that produce they have purchased. And second is the cooperative marketing, the bulk and bulk product, and they will through the again they will cooperative marketing and they will directly sell to their members and all those things. That is they are also benefited. And forward and future markets for some of the but all are not horticulture, fruits and vegetables are not come under forward or future markets, but resins, for example, resins and some other spices they can adapt it through forward and future markets. They can sell, and who are involved in the farmers producer company, they can take their own decision and sell. Again, they will directly market through their producer farmers producer organization. They are also benefited. And another thing is who are involved in the value addition and RT business incubators. They are benefited and overcome the problem of marketing. So now we'll see that these all two government has inserted some of the schemes to challenge the above problems. During these challenge times, how does Indian agriculture respond to the how government measures? They have immediately what they have done immediately after the nationwide lockdown has announced the Indian finance minister declare 1.7 trillion rupees package. This is also include for the agriculture and agriculture related aspects and also horticulture aspects. They have also and the announcement of slew benefits to contain the advance release of 2,000 to the bank in the that is PM Kisan Yojana. They have already without the to help the farmers they will advance 2,000 rupees to the bank. The government also raised the wage rate of workers engaged under the various activities, agriculture activities, and other activities also. And another thing, under a special scheme to take care of the vulnerable population, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, the Prime Minister scheme for welfare of the poor has been announced. This is also largely benefited by. This is also largely benefit to the small and marginal farmers. And another thing is that the additional grain allotments to registered were also announced for the next 3 months, and cash and food assistance to persons engaged in the informal sector. Mostly migrant laborers have also been announced for which a separate PM case, that is the Prime Minister Citizen Assistance and Relief Emergency Situation Fund, has been created. So in this section, some of the aspects. And continuing this, the Reserve Bank of India has also announced specific measures to burden the debt servicing due to COVID-19 pandemic. Agriculture terms and have been granted a concession of 3 months. They will concession by the 3 months till May 31st, and banking issues with 3% concession on the interest rate of crop loans up to 3 lakh rupees. Who have got the good repayment period. They have announced that one. In spite of all these things, we have got some of the immediate challenges due to this COVID-19 problem. All those things. First and foremost thing is that this is the peak harvesting season in India for major horticulture crops as such that pomegranate, mango, grape, guava, and almost all vegetables. This is a peak season, and as you know, these are the perishable in nature. The supply chain is disturbed. That is why even the local demand is also the mismatch with the supply, because of people are not coming out to purchase, and they can easily not able to sold the produce. This is the one challenge, immediate challenge for the farmers, and the government has to address. And second one is that this is the time when the farm harvest, such as the mandis, is difficult, because in mandis all vendors in the mandis, that is middlemen, are not operating. Only few are operating. They are exploited also. Even the transporters also, practically if you see, transporters also exploited. And another thing is the laborers also exploiting the farmers because of this COVID-19. They are laborers increase their labor charges right from 250 to 500 rupees. They have raised. This is badly affecting the cost of cultivation and economy of the horticulture, that is fruits and vegetable growers. So another thing that is affected is that for harvesting labor problem, that is migration of workers from few parts of their native places, has also triggered panic buttons, as they are crucial for both harvesting operations and post-harvest handling of the produce in storage and marketing centers. Because of the migration of the labor, most of the horticulture, the fruits and vegetables need laborers for the harvesting and other operations also, because mechanization is less possible. Unlike agriculture crops, it is badly affected the horticulture crops. So in this regard, the Union Home Ministry is a very significant move, has notified to exclude movement of farmers from laborers and harvesting and sowing related machines from the during the lockdown. And they have made the making food grains, fruits and vegetables and other essential items available to the consumer both in rural and urban areas. Is most critical challenge for government machinery during the lockdown period. Smooth functioning of the supply chain with adequate safety measures involved is of the paramount importance. And transportation of public distribution system items to last mile delivery by both and rail and road has to be ensured by respective government agencies. Distribution of commodities to vulnerable populations, maintaining prescribed guidelines, protocol, particularly a social distancing must be monitored. So now we'll see the what are the mitigation measures to be taken by the government. The poor, as you know, poor sections of the society are always the hardest hit in the any disaster pandemics. Hence, the focus of the government therefore has to be protect the lives of the every citizen. People living in agriculture and allied activities, mostly those losing their income, employment in this at this lockdown period, have to be provided with alternative avenues like cash avenues and other things for the 3 months period. They have to be given with some avenues. And second of the sustain the demand for agriculture commodities. Investment in key logistics has to be enhanced. That is some transportations and some processing units. All the key logistics who are involved in the stakeholders for the agriculture commodities, they have to be encouraged. And the small and medium enterprises running with the raw materials from the agriculture, horticulture, fruits and vegetables sector also needs special attention so that the rural economy doesn't affect the this COVID-19 effect. So to avoid the immediate concerns of the scarcity of farm labor, policies must facilitate availability of machinery through state entities. This is difficult for the horticulture produce because they can use it for the machineries for the some preliminary applications, but harvesting and all those difficult to with the machineries, labor is required for that one. And it is also suggested to explore the leveraging NRGS fund to pay part of farm labor with the farmers paying the balance wage amount to lessen the monetary burden on the farmers. Lesser burden on the farmers. So as a agriculture is a state subject. As you know, agriculture is a state subject and has been observed in the past years. Policies and programs vary from state to state. However, agriculture activities interconnected with the neighboring state regions. That is most affected because of the movement of laborers and all those and even fruits and vegetables from one state to another state. This is also one of the things we have to address. And another thing is a waiver of loans evidence by suggest have not fully benefited the small and marginal farmers. So again, it is the in my view, it is a drawback. Loaner of wave because some funding agency not come forward in next seasons to pay the advance the loans to the small and marginal farmers. Definitely, they will affect it for their future. That is coming in. Kharif season is approaching. They will definitely affect. As the Kharif season is fast approaching, institutional lending should be expanded and facilitated for smooth and smooth flow of credit to the borrowing farmers. This has to be done. Then agriculture inputs, especially these are the because of the lack of logistics and other things. Agriculture inputs, supply of agriculture inputs also may affect. So seeds, fertilizer have to be pre-positioned and they have to make easy availability. In this regard, private sector must play a significant role with the necessary policy support. Relaxation of the agriculture produce market committees, allowing farmers to sell their produce beyond the designated mandis have to be done. State governments must gear up their machineries for smooth procurement operations of the farmers' marketable surplus at the MSP or through other price support schemes. This has to be done. And also some all other stakeholders has to be involved. And last we have to be address is the precautions to be taken by farmers while selling the produce. They have to be simple measures. They have to be included while farmers have to be included that I have to cover. That is first one. They have to maintain the social distancing and maintaining the personal hygiene by washing hands with soap and wearing of mask, face mask, protective clothing, and cleaning of implements and machinery. And workers to follow safety measures and social distancing at each and every step in the entire process of field operations. These are the essential simple measures they have to taken care of to curb the widespread of the this coronavirus or COVID-19 virus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening me on the whole aspect and the topic regarding agriculture marketing during for farmers during these tough times. I again request all the participants to save your questions and queries for the end of the second session also, so that we can take sessions queries one by one, and kindly address your queries to the particular speaker, as in kindly write the name of the speaker when you want to convey a particular query, or you have to ask a certain question to one query, or raise your hand accordingly. Now moving forward, I would like to requesting our next speaker of the day, that is Dr. Sachin Kumar T. Nandimat. He also comes with a great experience in agricultural marketing, and he's currently an assistant professor agricultural economics and director of education, University of Horticultural Science, Bagalkot, Karnataka. Sir, are we connected?
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Kindly full screen. Yes, sir. You are. Yes, sir. You are connected. Thank you so much.
So, good morning, everyone. Honorable DG NIAM, Dr. Chandrasekhar sir, and the Honorable Director IHO, Dr. Dinesh sir, and all my dear participants. I extend my warm welcome to this session. And at the outset, let us compliment the efforts of Team NIAM in organizing the webinar series with more appropriate topics which are flavor. And coming to the today's topic, that is on marketing of fruits and vegetables in the COVID-19 situation. As we all know, the marketing of agriculture commodities, especially horticulture produce, and more specifically the marketing of fruits, vegetables, and flowers is a really challenging activity and risky activity because of some of the obvious reasons, like the produce is bulky, it's perishable, the price fluctuation is huge, and the market is scattered, the production is scattered, and inefficient marketing and information system. Apart from that, under the situation of crisis which we are facing due to the lockdown situation because of the COVID-19, it has still worsened the situation, and there is drastic disruption of the supply chain, and the demand has come down drastically because of household consumption is rationed, and there are no restaurants, hostels, and the religious places, and no public functions, and this has reduced the demand. Apart from this, the other reason is the restriction of inter-district as well as interstate movement of produce, which has increased the produce surplus within the state. Say, for example, in our state, rough estimate says that around 50% of the horticulture produce, especially fruits and vegetables, are excess in the state, and the disposal of this surplus is not possible unless this restriction on movement of the from one state to another state, or district from one district to another district is relaxed. So in this situation, it's a challenge for the stakeholders to make the horticulture farmers or the stakeholders should not suffer the losses, huge losses, unless if they cannot make profits out of their horticulture activity. So in this context, today I want to share some of the success stories, or you can say case studies, which we were directly involved or we were observed directly. So these small examples can be the game changers, or they can be modified or improved so that we will be ready to face any such crisis in and And we have observed or learned from the history that the many of the innovations are emerged in a situation of crisis, and this crisis, the COVID-19, is not an exception. Many of the farmers, due to this crisis, they have evolved their own mitigation technology, or they adopted so many innovative technologies or ways to dispose of their produce. So some well-intentioned and clever collaborations across the state have helped the farmers to dispose of their produce. Especially, I'm sharing the case studies related to Karnataka, and they can be taken as examples for other states. And as I told, the innovative ways. This is use of social platform for the farmers. Many of the farmers, the educated youngsters, they are using the social, sites as a platform to produce, to dispose of their produce by placing it on a social website. Say, for example, this is an example where a young farmer has tweeted in a Twitter that he has 80 metric tons of cabbage and is not able to market it, and he has tagged it to some of the legends like Tata and Ratan Tata and Anand Mahindra, and which was viewed by so many thousands of people, and he could in a week's time he could sell 37 metric tons of cabbage. And this is an example. So this can be act as one of the mitigation technology for or mitigation way to dispose of the produce, apart from depending on the traditional ways of disposing the or selling of their produce. So, and looking for the alternative, the marketing, like direct marketing, as earlier speaker told. So the direct marketing has been advocated as one of the best measures to dispose the or sell the producers of the small and marginal farmers, that too particularly in peri-urban areas. But many of the farmers were reluctant to adopt this direct marketing with their own reasons. But this COVID situation has forced the farmers to adopt this direct marketing. And I'm sharing this one simple example where the Department of Horticulture in my area, that is the faculty from our college, have done a very simple initiative by creating a group. It's a simple WhatsApp group, and where the department had a list of farmers with their produce and the quantity, and the department has facilitated. So we just aggregated the demand and conveyed it to the farmer, and the farmer used to bring the standard unit. Say, for example, grape, 2.5 kgs of grape for ₹100. So it will be easy for carrying, and it is easy for transaction also. And in a given place, he used to come and sell his produce in a 1 hour time, that is between 6 to 7 early morning. So so in this platform, we have every day we have could dispose around 6 to 7 quintals of fruits, as well as 60 to 75 kgs of vegetables. And one of the farmers, the grape grower in this area, he has earned 9 lakhs till now from this simple platform. And this can be in future, such things can be modified or standardized, maybe in kind of app or some, so that we can address the urban needs, and we can ensure the profit or income to the farmers. So this is one thing. And you can see the picture. It is in Kannada, and I'll explain it in English. Say the one farmer in Gadag Taluk, Gadag district, he has earned ₹10 lakh from direct marketing of his banana from 5 acres of his land. And so he has hired 4 extra labor, and he has harvested himself, and nearby urban or peri-urban areas he has sold, and he has earned ₹10 lakh. And now he is confident that he will continue this direct marketing even after this COVID situation also. And you can see the in second picture, the farmer, a marginal farmer with 2 acres of drumstick, he has earned 81,000 of net profit in a week's time. So it is through direct marketing, and this can be examples. So such examples encourage the farmers to take up the direct marketing, especially who are peri-urban, who are operating in peri-urban areas. So as you know, there are advantages and disadvantages. Though the quantity handled through direct marketing is limited, so for small and marginal farmers, it can be helpful. And there are some limitations also. Limitation is the quantity handled is limited. Transportation cost is one of the additional cost for the farmers, which and the poor packaging. The farmers are not trained in the packaging and better delivery of the goods like in a hygienic and the manner. So that can be the farmers can be trained in this And one of the important observation is that many of the leading daily newspapers are publishing the listing of the producer. So this can be taken as one of the lesson. So this has helped many of the farmers and buyers to contact each other. So we can think of having a dashboard, maybe in a given cluster or a taluk or a Hubli level. If any department or a university can have a dashboard like this, where the farmers can list their produce with the quantity and their contact information. So this can be helpful in future if we improve this kind of things. And coming to the third example, that is marketing to cooperatives. Cooperatives, whenever the farmers are in crisis, the cooperatives are the first institution to come for the rescue. And here in COVID situation also, the HOPCOMs, the Horticulture Producers Marketing and Cooperative Marketing and Processing Society. It is one of the leading cooperative institute in Karnataka. So here, from the lockdown period, I have taken a success story of the Vijaypur, where the HOPCOM's income has increased 3 times. Earlier it was 10 lakh per month, and during COVID period they have earned 30 lakh rupees, thereby making profit for the society as well as farmers, and they have strengthened or they have given the strength to the farmers in the situation of crisis. And earlier they used to have they used to sell their produce only through the retail outlets, but in this situation the disposal of produce is through mobile vans, and many of the HOPCOMs have hired the mobile vans. Like you can see in almost all districts we have HOPCOMs outlets, and wherever there are no HOPCOM outlets, they have started and they are helping the farmers, and this cooperative are helping the farmers, and this can be strengthened in days to come. And the collaboration between different cooperatives. The KMF, Karnataka Milk Federation, is another cooperative federation where the department has approached the KMF, and the KMF has agreed to allow the farmers to sell their fruits and vegetables in a given time in all of its more than 1,500 outlets. So this has given a really the platform for the farmers, the small and marginal farmers, to dispose of their produce in a situation of crisis. And the innovative approaches by Mango Development Board, where the Mango Development Board, in association or in collaboration with the Department of Post, they have started the home delivery or online marketing of the mango. They have a list of farmers, they have their different varieties, they have fixed the prices, and the consumers can order their requirement through online, and in a weekly twice the department or the Mango Development Board is delivering the mangoes to the doorsteps of the particularly it is operating in metropolitan urban areas, but it can be extended, and the similar thing can be done for different commodities also. There is a scope. And coming to the role of FPOs, and the FPOs were always considered as the role game changer in agriculture scenario, but there are more than 150 or odd registered FPOs in Karnataka, but many of them are defunct, are not so active. And wherever the FPOs are active, they are only involved in input business. And this situation, that is in the COVID situation, many of the FPOs have come to the rescue of the farmers, their fellow farmers, as the members as well as other farmers, so that they can help the farmers in the crisis situation of crisis. And to share a few examples, there is one FPO in Hanagal Taluk. It has made a commitment to procure almost all the mango, which is grown in 4,000 hectares at the rate of 45,000 per ton, and they have already started their operation. And in the Haveri district, one of the best performing FPO, where they have been awarded as the best performing FPO for output business. They are also committed to procure almost all fruits and vegetables which are grown in the Haveri district. And they have started, because they have a well-established the forward linkage, and they can help the farmers. And so this can be and the major. So you can see there are so many different FPOs which I have shared. they are dealing with handling the produce for output business, and they are into retail. And one of the the cross section survey conducted by CSS FPO shows that earlier to COVID there were few FPOs into output business, that particularly for horticulture, but due to the COVID situations, so they voluntarily come into the output business, and there are the addition of 15 more where they have conducted the survey for 23 FPOs, and this shows that they are ready to do output business, but there are some challenges faced by they are not the FPOs. The main being they were not ready for the situation because they don't have a transportation as well as storage of processing facility. Since that is why they are dealing with a very small quantity, and they are into a retail business, and they had a little experience on the output marketing, because many of the times and most of the time they are involved in majority of the FPOs in Karnataka, they are involved in input business, and this is a this crisis has given an opportunity for the FPOs also to come into the output business. So these are some of the challenges faced by the FPOs. And coming to the value addition, whenever there is a crisis, we say that the produce should be processed and value addition should be done. But that is not a solution, because the value addition requires a particular variety or harvesting at a particular stage. But what we have observed, these are very simple examples where the the processing can help the small and marginal farmers in such crisis situation, where the farmer from Gadag had grown bitter gourd in 10 guntas, and he was not able to dispose or sell the produce, and with the help of some of the agribusiness processing institute organization has been guided by him, and he just cut the bitter gourd in the form of chips, and he has dried it and sold the produce at rupees 220 rupees per kg, and he has earned 70,000 rupees from 10 guntas of land. So this small examples can be a game changer. Similarly, in Kolar area, the Mulbagal Taluk, one of the NGO has helped the households in the village. They procured daily. They used to procure half a ton of tomato, and they have taken 50 households in a given village, and they used to supply 50 half ton of tomato to each household, and there is simple sun drying of the tomato. So these tomatoes, the dried tomatoes, are procured back by the NGO, and they are having their retail chain, and they are helping farmers in this manner. So such micro ideas can help, can be a game changer in such crisis, and this is an ideal situation for these women self-help groups, and they can take such activities. They can also earn money, and they can also help the farmers in the situation of crisis. And coming to the role of department, the Department of Horticulture in Karnataka has really helped the farmers in the crisis situation with their the contact, and they could do the large quantity transfer from Karnataka to other neighboring states. So 240 tons of ananas, that is pineapple, has been lifted from Sirsi to Bangalore, and around 590 tons of fruits and vegetables have been transported, have been exported to the neighboring states like Goa and other states. So these are some of the examples. And as a university, we also developed one district-wise and a commodity-wise, the cluster-wise, the marketing director of bulk buyers. And whenever we get the calls from the farmers, we try to link the producers with the output dealers. So this has really helped, and we have also shared the different the list prepared by different institutions, so they can be helpful in the situation of crisis like this. So these small examples, what I have discussed, these are real success stories, as I think, and this can be taken as a models for the days to come, and these can be improved and modified in a larger way, so they can be helpful in the future whenever we face such a kind of crisis. So with this, I complete my presentation on case studies or success stories. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for providing such a comprehensive picture regarding the procurement of fruits and vegetable sector during COVID-19 period and post that. Now we'll be moving towards the question and answer round for all the participants. We'll be addressing one question and will be directed to the person concerned, as in out of both the speakers, whoever the question will be directed to will be reverting accordingly.
Okay.
First question, it's Udan Shri Prakash. So please speak your question, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
There is no question. See, there are two things are to be remembered. That forward linkage has to be established. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Everybody can listen to me.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
See, for the similar webinar was held in Maharashtra in Pune. And the department. The problem is today the mandis are closed, the logistic is stopped, and moving the perishable material has become a real question. Nandi Mutt, the presentation. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible. Kindly continue your question or your query.
My compliments are to Dr. Nandi Mutt, giving a present situation of direct marketing. And I have no questions. I was just an observer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll be taking the next question.
May I? Hello, may I say something?
Yes, sir, kindly proceed.
I am P.S. Sirohi speaking from Bulandshahr, Uttar Pradesh. May I say something?
Yes, sir, please. Yes, sir, please.
I am a grower of mango. I have my own orchard of mangoes and growing Dasari and Chausa in a good quantity and quality. And as now we are seeing the position of marketing of fruits and vegetables in this lockdown period, now we are afraid of what will happen to the produce after 1 month when it will come after May or in the beginning of June. So I would like to know what are the agencies to whom we should contact in Uttar Pradesh for the better direct marketing of mangoes from Western UP, especially from Bulandshahr. Please.
Sachin or Shri.
Dr. Sachin, the question is addressed to you. Kindly proceed.
Yes, Mr. P.S. Shirohi. So there is one. Directory. I will share you that directory with you. You can just, that is a state-wise and a commodity-wise directory that it has been prepared by Manage. That can be helpful for you to find out the buyers for your produce in near future. And you can start contacting from now itself, because it should not be late.
Dr. Sachin, can you please please answer again?
Yes, yes. You just share me your mail ID. I will send you one directory where the list of bulk buyers or direct buyers is prepared by the Manage. I will share you that. If it can be helpful for you, you can contact the direct buyers, because I don't have direct contact in Uttar Pradesh. So I can share it, and I can help you with by contacting some of the higher officers in the department. I will try to help you. Just share me your mail ID or your contact number.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. We'll be moving towards the next question or query.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Pan.
Hello.
Yeah, it is audible. Please carry on.
Sir, you are audible. Kindly clarify your
Yes,
name.
I am audible. I am audible.
Hello.
Yeah, you are
Sachin,
audible.
this is Dr. Akbar from Bangalore. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Sachin, you know, it is direct marketing. Whether this direct marketing model is applicable to all the horticulture crops. See, here and there, 1 or 2 cases, or at maximum 5 to 6 cases, you can do it. Our production is 184 million metric tons.
Yes, sir.
Model, you see, one of the participants, Dr. Dhananjay, has suggested we have to rope in all the organizations, FPOs, FAID, KMF, Department of Horticulture. See, when we have a model, just like milk model is there, that has to be thought into. See, now here and there, you see, one of the farmers for Bhutan has grown 4 acres of muskmelon. That to Lailapur 257, excellent variety. See, we contacted several marketing agencies. We contacted Ajatpur market also. See, they are asking for throwaway price of 4 rupees. But the consumer
40 rupees. See, what I suggest is we should come out with a model which will work for all the commodities. You see, direct marketing, here and there it will work.
Yes, sir.
But it will not be a
complete model. That's what my suggestion. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Akbar, is the question directed to someone or is this just a submission?
Dr. Sachin, you can proceed.
Yes.
Okay, there is a question from Mr. Dhananjay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Dhananjay, please proceed.
I'm audible.
You are audible.
Already Dr. Agora has touched upon some of the issues that we, for the past 1 month, we were discussing about really marketing of these horticulture commodities. It's not, we have given all the information that what we have worked for the past 1 month, and we have already submitted two policy papers to Government of Karnataka also. So government is working on that, but some of the things like MIS, MSP for horticulture commodities still not happening countrywide. Though there are some here and there some efforts, but the present horticulture commissioner with his great efforts, the MIS is increased from 10% to 20% for horticulture commodities. It is the first time happened. Only it was operating for onion, but other commodities not there. Other thing is the NAFED, what is that, market intelligence for top crops that required for all of the commodities also. And I've given so much of points through my chapter. All these points, as Agora suggested, we have to come out with a workable, implementable, a long-lasting solution for managing supply chain related issues, bringing in pieces. So we have already made a paper submitted to the government, but still webinar can add some of these points and still come out with a robust supply chain and management system. So in the future, some situation emerges, we will be better managed or better prepared to manage. Direct marketing, already Dr. Agora has spoken. What are the limitations? So most of the points I've already listed through the messages. Hope come out with a very valid recommendations for the benefit of the horticulture sector as a whole. And definitely, though we talk very for some of few farmers who got benefited during COVID, but 80 to 90% of the farmers are not benefited. And floriculture sector, nobody is talking. The whole sector is completely, I will tell you, is under distress. Farmers have removed the crops after huge investment made. I invite all the learned people who have participated in the webinar to really give valuable suggestions so that we can have a workable, implementable, and a very solid mechanism which takes care of you, including the floriculture crops in the coming days. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Mr. Dhananjay. Thank you for the suggestion. Now we'll be moving towards the next question.
Answer, Sachin. Okay.
Next question is directed to Dr. Satish has had a question, I presume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Kindly proceed with the question and also direct your question towards the speaker.
Okay. So my question is the presentation. Very nicely they have presented. Thank you very much for that. So my question is just I had a word with one secretary yesterday in Himachal Pradesh, and I got to know about in the case which is related to high value commercial crops, horticultural crops, such as broccoli, because Himachal Pradesh has a number of farmers who has produced this broccoli kind of high value produce, but they are not getting the insured buyers because the entire supply chain is broken. Because if you look at the consumption point, you will find that the consumers are from the consumers are getting these products from the supermarkets and hypermarket models, and also the hotel and restaurant industry is the main buyer of these produce. So what can be done from the policy level? What are the suggestions from your side so that these suggestions can have some impact in such kind of commercial crop production, and especially to link with the buyers, or this how can we strengthen the supply chain of this kind of horticultural produce?
So your question is directed to which of the
Sachin,
speakers?
To any of the speakers, sir. Maybe Sachin, sir.
Dr. Sachin, sir, Mr. Shripad, anyone can answer the question?
Yes, Satish, it is. I come to know about your problem. The same is the case with the simple vegetables in Karnataka. You told about broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. So these are there is a huge production of cabbage and cauliflower in Karnataka right now. But because of the major consumers of these cabbage and cauliflower vegetables are hotel industry. So and they have a minimal processing opportunity. There is no such processing options also in case of such products. It is very difficult. Right now, I can. There is no direct solution for how to improve this supply chain unless the transportation and the interstate restrictions are lifted. The produce can be transported. So any of the learned speakers or the participants can contribute for that.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin, for the answer.
I have a question.
Sam Kumar. Yes.
Hello.
Yep.
Yes, Ashwath. Mr. Ashwath, we will take Mr. Ashwath's question. Kindly direct your.
Yeah, my experience. Yeah, I am Dr. Ashwath. I am principal scientist from IHR. What my question is, say suppose now our experience is that value addition is one of the important component which now we have to think about it. About giving now the government has to start a lot of value added products. See, especially I'll give an example in floriculture where I talked to at least 10 companies where they are converting the dry flowers into a sort of incense sticks or mosquito mats and all, but they are very limited. So why don't we think about this type of situation, or even the waste of flowers from the temples also, or in future any type of, why can't we give a sort of skill to the many rural youths or the migrant workers which now many come back. Why can't we think about giving a sort of skill to them, and we are ready to take up this type of thing, and plus even in the medicinal crops also, where we can give a skill to convert the lot of medicinal crops to a a product. Why can't the government or a policymaker give a sort of think about it and go ahead in a big way? Thank you.
Sir,
Sure.
sir, I have a question. Can I ask the question, sir?
Yes, sir. Dr. Rao, kindly proceed with your question.
Correct. Answer.
Yeah.
Kindly unmute. Dr. Rao, we are unable to hear you. Kindly unmute.
Of this particular webinar. See, otherwise,
Dr. Rao,
many are
Dr.
very
Rao.
generic in nature. Yeah.
Kindly repeat your question.
Tell me, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, now you are audible. Kindly proceed.
Yeah, sir. The issue is see, now the focus is how the supply chain and value chain will change with respect to the disasters which are happening. See, otherwise many of the issues are getting generic. You need the government, you increase the processing. These are all very general sort of things. But when a disaster comes, what sort of alternate supply chains and value chains you wish to propose? That is the focus of this webinar. And not simply telling very generic things. Okay, I wish this, thank you.
Shall I?
Sir,
Yes, sir. Yes.
1 second.
I have a question, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello. Abhishek, can I?
Am I visible?
Sir, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Friends, actually,
I would like to bring
Kisan
Rath app
developed by
Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture.
I think
I
everyone
think everyone
must
should promote this about farming community.
because basically the production takes
Production
place
takes
at one
place at
place
one place,
and the
and the
commodity
commodity has to be transported to other place
for consumption
for consumption purpose or processing purpose or for sale purpose, storage purpose. So agri-logistics plays very important role,
but we don't
but we don't know who is providing that service.
This
This Kisan Rath app developed by Ministry of Agriculture and Government of India
is very
is very useful. Large number of transporters are enrolled into this,
and
you place your demand and the people start responding to that. This agri-logistics will come to our help through this app. I request every one of you through this platform
to make use
of that. The second one,
somebody made
a mention about the speaker made a mention about
a book
a book published on the buyer sellers directory from Manage. I'm also actually the book was compiled by me. State-wise, commodity-wise, the buyer sellers details. Basically, the buyers details are given along with their email ID and telephone numbers and postal address. I think we can make use of that platform also.
See,
Another very important thing is we are not making use of negotiable warehouse receipt,
that
ENWR. This instrument very effectively.
That means, see, once the
Once the harvesting is done,
we have
to keep our produce in either warehouse or in the cold storage.
and based
And based on the warehouse receipt generated,
up to
80% of the value, the present market value, will go to the hands of farmer. Therefore, the crisis sale is prevented. Immediately, farmer will not go for sale and lose the money to the middleman.
So he will
So he will get the money and meet his requirement. Whenever the prices pick up in the market,
he can sell,
and he can adequately get the compensation.
This is
This is not popular, but wherever registered warehouses are there, old storages are there, probably the farmer should know
that we can
that
make
we
use
can
of
make
those
use of those platforms to use
negotiable
negotiable
warehouse receipt.
warehouse receipt.
I need
I need not emphasize on
this ENAM National
national
Agriculture
agriculture
Market.
market. Here, not only you can sell to the buyer within the market, even outside the market, between the districts, between the states, it is just possible with the help of Kisan Rath, even interstate transaction also can take place.
I think
I think these are all some of the new information we should bring it to the attention of farmers, producers organizations, so that they will make use of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next.
So, Mr. Sam Kumar, please raise your question. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm basically an exporter from South India, Tamil Nadu. We do have a company here and there.
It's not audible.
It's not audible,
Sir,
please check.
sir, you are not audible, sir. Mr. Sam.
Mr. Sam Kumar, kindly bring the microphone closer to your. I think we lost.
We'll be taking the next question now.
Okay.
Maybe last question.
Okay, as we have reached the time limit for our webinar, we'll be taking the final question.
No one.
No one has raised.
No one. All done. Done. Okay, so we have addressed all the questions which have been put forth in the chat box and those who have raised hands.
Yeah.
I'm Sirohi Bulandshahr. I'm PS Sirohi from Bulandshahr. May I say something?
Okay, Mr. Sirohi, this will be the last question. Yes, sir. Kindly proceed and direct your question to the speaker concerned.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible. Kindly
This is Ashok Mathur. Can hello?
Sir, we'll be taking Mr. P.S. Sirohi's question first as he raised his query first. So kindly others keep your mic on mute. We'll be taking Mr. P.S. Sirohi's question. Sir, you are audible. Kindly proceed with the question.
I'm audible. Let me proceed. I'm from Bulandshahr. As I have already mentioned, there is a lot of production of quality mangoes in UP, and UP stands at #1 place in the country regarding production of good quality mangoes. In Western UP, what it is going on, the farmers are unable in harvesting their produce pertaining to other vegetables and other fruits also. So I would like to request NIAM people especially to organize such a webinar, if it is possible, at an early date, and so that UP problems pertaining to direct marketing of fruits and vegetables can be addressed. This is my request. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, you can pass on to director. He will make few remarks. I would like to request. Yeah, we are running out of time. We already crossed 12 o'clock. I request Dr. Dinesh, Honorable Chief Guest of today's webinar, to make final remarks. Afterwards, I can also take 1 minute and conclude.
No, probably with regard to marketing of mangoes, I just want to make a comment saying that we have one institute, CISH in Lucknow. They are making some efforts to tie up with the linkage of this mango producers to the market. Probably that can be thought of. And another point which I would like to request my gentleman who raised the question is that probably if he can think of some of the produce being, if they can route it to processing industries, but again, processing industries should be in a position to work. There are some industries in, I am told in Bundelkhand or somewhere in that region. Probably more of this information they can get from CASH Lucknow. I think the center that would help them deal with the situation, especially mango growers. Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh.
So I think
This
this 1.5 hour, it was a wonderful discussion.
I
would like to thank both the speakers, especially for making wonderful presentation on the basic concepts, basic issues. Also, some of the success stories. I think it was very inspiring. Dr. Nandimat, compliments to you. You took examples from the field and showed to us that what is the way out. I think this kind of crisis management, which already happened in the field, and the innovations evolved. Probably they are the guiding force for every one of us in our respective areas and respective commodities. Probably we may have to modify these, so that they will be more relevant to us. But the basic, the concept remains same.
You talked about
Direct marketing. You talked about using social media, ICT. You talked about we're taking the help of agri logistics so that consumers and producers both will be benefited. It was a wonderful talk. Anyway, due to limitation of the time, we need to conclude. I am really overwhelmed by the response from the participants. It crossed actually. The hall was full, and it is very difficult to to get opportunity for every one of us to raise the question and get very satisfactory answer in this short form. Some limitations are there. Yeah.
Only one point. When you mentioned about the success stories, just yesterday I got one information of a mango farmer here down in South India who has been able to sell the mango produce to the apartments, taking this himself, and he has made about 4 lakhs in 2 weeks. I mean, these are some of the examples. I do agree with you. The volume, the number of farmers are so high. But I am quoting only one small example wherein it can start. I think as very rightly pointed out by you, probably these few success stories would definitely increase in the days to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. They're really inspiring. Now, I was also reading the initiative taken by Alumni Association of University of Agriculture Sciences. They link the farmers directly to the consumers, this residential area owners, where the farmers were selling earlier for 25 rupees. Now they sold for 55 rupees grapes, so that they made 30 rupees profit. But otherwise, earlier in the market, they were purchasing for 100 rupees, but consumers, they got it for 55 rupees. They got 45 rupees income. So it is a win-win situation for producers and the consumers together with the facilitation of Alumni Association. This is one example. See, like that, we have 904 universities. And this one example should inspire us. There is no instant solution. Depending on the commodity, depending on the local, limitations, we face huge challenge in agriculture marketing, and giving a standard formula and a standard solution sitting at one place which is applicable to the entire country is just impractical, impossible. Therefore, we need to evolve, the innovations which are more suitable to us. That is where all these examples should help us.
In fact, Dr. Chandrasekhar, yesterday only I got again one more example from the Raichur Agriculture University, who have helped a farmer in marketing the sweet oranges. No, these are very stray examples. We have started. This is only a minor first step. Probably this would propel many other people to take up the same thing. One initiative by the state government of Karnataka is they have now made facility for selling of the fruits and vegetable by the side of KMF outlets in the city. Probably this in the days to come would go a long way in eliminating the middlemen. to a very great extent if transport is provided free of cost to the farmers.
Yeah. I think
I think all the innovations which emerged during COVID period,
I think
they are the some kind of lessons our academic institution should study them, try to fill all the gap, overcome all the gaps, and standardize and release it to different states for upscaling. Probably that is the task where we have to start with. And I would like to thank the speakers. I would like to thank Director IAHR, Dr. Dinesh, for sparing your valuable time and sitting all through the session, and support extended by IAHR, and especially all the participants for raising the questions. And all the questions I am sure are noted by the speakers, and also the discussions, whatever is emerging out of this webinar, that should be taken care by your policy brief, which you are going to share with Dr. J. Raghavendra Rao. And finally, it will go for editing and compilation, so that we can circulate this publication and we can benefit maximum people out of this 1.5 hour, whatever the discussion took place. Thank you, one and all, and I request your participation and contribution in the webinars to come. For next 22 days on different topics, we have webinars, and we are also getting good ideas on new topics. For example, on floriculture, on mango in Uttar Pradesh, and on pomegranate. Let us see how to accommodate maximum commodities and maximum geographical locations, so that we can customize the solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope you all have a nice day. We'll be disconnecting now, and meeting is the webinar for the today is complete. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.